The Rockford IceHogs enter the final week of the regular season and also look to continue their push up the Central Division standings as they pay a visit to the Iowa Wild at Wells Fargo Arena. Hello, everybody. Joseph Zakshevsky with you, joined alongside assistant coach Jared Nightingale for the Forest City Diagnostic Imaging diagnosis of the game. Coach Nightingale, rematch of this past Sunday. You know this team well, 12th and final meeting between the two clubs, but Iowa, unfortunately, their season comes to a close tonight. They will not make the playoffs. The IceHogs, they are in, but still have a lot to play for going into the matchup. What are you expecting from your club this evening?
Well, I think, really proud of the guys that put ourselves in a position to finish, in a really good spot. Obviously, there's a lot of work to be done, and you're right. Just seeing Iowa the other day, it's about what we've seen all year from Iowa. You got to be on your game, and they play hard. They play full 60, but expect, a desperate team. Talking about us, we know what's at stake, and we want to have a really good performance.
Well, take us through the locker room and the mentality of the coaching staff and what you've seen from the players, too, just because when a team gets that X next to their name, the playoffs, sometimes those last 3 games or last handful of games, they'll put guys in that aren't getting a lot of ice time. They'll rest guys that might be a little bit banged up. But it seems like the IceHogs are still full throttle ahead. Why is that? Why do you feel like this drive is a good thing to keep pushing and to have that mentality despite already clinching a spot?
Yeah, I think, it's – you always want to, they say, play playoff hockey, down the stretch. The teams, you can't just turn it off and on. I think, we've been playing it for a while, games that really important, not just the standings, but, whether we're shorthanded and injuries, guys stepping up in roles, and guys have been doing that. It only adds resolve and adds character and testing times, because that's what comes down the stretch, especially in playoff hockey. The more times you can see that and overcome it, obviously you're better off. But yeah, we are really been really good at just taking it moment by moment, step by step, and this is just one more step.
You mentioned earlier, and in fact, the last time we caught up was on that Sunday against Iowa, and even the previous games, that a playoff team can't afford to have 2 bad games in a row. You're coming off a tough loss to Iowa. They played a 30-game and 3-day weekend. Resilient effort for them on Sunday, but for the IceHogs, looking for a bounce-back performance tonight. How do you do that against an Iowa team that, in the head-to-head series, has been able to be successful against you?
Yeah, and I don't think, we lost the game, and obviously to give up 3 power play goals, that was disappointing. We got to respond better to that, the special teams. And really, there was still a lot of good to come from the game. I know we're not happy with the result. I've told you that before. You can't always control sometimes bounces or puck luck, but you can control the process and the effort. And we've really set ourselves up, like I said, a lot to be proud of, that we're in this position to fight for that 3rd spot. So we don't want to go thinking we need to change a ton. I think the basics, when we're at our best, and I've said it before, is just when we're outworking the opponent, outwilling the opponent.
Catching up with assistant coach Jared Nightingale for the Forest City Diagnostic Imaging diagnosis of the game. Coach Nightingale, he touched upon last Sunday's loss to the Iowa Wild with a big point right there. 3 power play goals against, a part of a pretty big overall power play performance. IceHogs get a power play goal as well. Managing emotions and special teams seem to come down to the head-to-head series and probably the biggest storylines of this head-to-head series. Iowa, one of the most penalized teams in the American Hockey League. We brought that up numerous times on the broadcast throughout the series, but somehow they keep getting under your skin one way or another. How do you really dial in and say, okay, we got to draw a line and know when or when not to cross it?
Yeah, and you know what? I think we've done it for the most part a good job. Maybe one penalty, and I think last game that our emotions got the best of us, and they scored on it. But it's a process. Like I said, you learn from that. I thought our guys have done a good job recently controlling that and using the emotion wisely. But yeah, down the stretch, special teams, goaltending, they always talk about that because it's such a, good teams make you pay. We got to try to flip the script, and I think our penalty kill has done a great job this year. We were probably due for a game like that where it didn't bounce our way, but good teams bounce back. We need to respond and be better tonight.
Hogs looking to do so here at Wells Fargo Arena. And, Coach, one final thought. This has been a building for the IceHogs. It's been tough to play in. Just 1 win in this building this season, 2 in their last 16 games going back to the last several seasons. For whatever reason, this Des Moines area has had a bugaboo on the IceHogs, but you want to be successful. You want to be resilient. How do you do that in a tough barn?
I think we, like you said, manage the emotions and just try not to get ahead of ourselves. Expect them. They'll have some pushes. We're going to have some pushes. Manage those. Don't be afraid to play 50-50 shifts, especially on the road, like you said, in a tough building. You don't have to win every shift, but you don't want to lose. Let that snowball, and capitalize on our chances. That's pretty much the nuts and bolts of it.
Well, Coach Nightingale, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Assistant Coach Jared Nightingale joining us for the Forest City Diagnostic Imaging diagnosis of the game as the IceHogs wrapping up their season series against the Iowa Wild tonight out at Wells Fargo Arena. Let's get you back to the action. You're listening and watching Rockford IceHogs Hockey on the Hogs Broadcast Network, presented by BMO Harris Bank.